Hey, it's Matt, your average gamer, and for this video, we're going to be going over Raider's Remembrance Quest in Elden Ring Nightreign. This is going to be a step-by-step guide. For unlocking Chapter 2, you're going to need a memory fragment, so basically just beat a boss and you will get a memory fragment, and then you'll have Chapter 2 unlocked, which is where we're going to be starting. So, Raider's Remembrance is by far the most straightforward out of all the remembrances in the game. His is the easiest, but it's also the most fun. I'm going to go over the fights in detail, how to handle them pretty well, at least the best I could, and basically how to do his quest. First things first, you got to talk to the Iron Menial here, and then we're going to have to touch the monument. Eventually, we're going to be jumping into a Coliseum and getting into duels with different bosses and whatnot. His Remembrance is really fun, and once again, a little bit more straightforward than some of the other remembrances. If you've been following my channel, by the way, this will be the 7th one, so it'll be 7 up of the 8, only Recluse left to go, so not bad at all. Got them in a playlist too. If you need to do any of the remembrances, I'll leave the playlist in the description below. So after touching the stone and going back to the Iron Menial, you're then going to go into the battlegrounds to take on your first foe. The first boss that you face is relatively easy. This isn't too tough at all. It's not overly difficult by any means. This fight took me a total of 1 try. You can use your Retaliate ability to take reduced damage. It's really important you use that when you have the opportunity to do so. And then the important part is getting in jump and charge attacks and basically stunning him as much as you can. He doesn't have a ton of poise. You're going to be able to break him frequently, and that's going to be your best bet for taking this boss down. It's just going for breaks over and over again by using charge attacks, jump attacks, and your Retaliate ability. If you're about to get hit, by the way, you take so much reduced damage with his ability that I recommend just using Retaliate if it's there, even if you have to use it as a defensive maneuver, and then you will, of course, get a knockdown and some poise damage. You can follow up with some charge attacks. You can see constantly stunning him over and over again, whether it's a jump attack, regular hit, etc. Whatever it is, it's going to pretty much stun him. Again, this took me only 1 try. This was not difficult at all in terms of this boss. The other 2 are going to be a little bit more of a challenge for you for sure. This one's going to be easy for you to take down. Now that we've taken him down, we're going to go back. We're going to finish up this chapter of the Remembrance and move on from there. Once again, Raiders is really fun. It's a lot of fun doing this. You're basically jumping into a Coliseum and fighting a bunch of different bosses. Alright, so now we're going to talk to the Iron Menial again real quick, and of course exhaust dialogue. Make sure you always exhaust dialogue every time. You're going to be getting relics as you go through this, of course. They're going to be excellent relics to make a good build for Raider. If you want to see a build for Raider in the future, be sure to comment that below as well. I'm going to be doing some best relic guides post the remembrances. After we exhaust this dialogue, the remembrance for this part is going to be complete. Now, I want to mention this. If you get stuck at any of these chapters, you just need a memory fragment, so you have to go in, defeat a boss as Raider, get the memory fragment, and then unlock the next chapter so you can continue on from there. So now we're going to begin the Chapter 4 remembrance. Once again, this is going to be pretty much all duels for these. It's not too bad overall. We're going to be going back to the Iron Menial and right by the stone again here. Yeah, I wanted to do all 8. I really didn't need to do Raiders because it's very straightforward. But of course, I wanted to make sure I completed all the remembrances for the playlist I was doing. His is really the only one you don't need too much. A little bit at the end that'll explain, but overall, it's not too complicated. Once again, exhaust the Iron Menial's dialogue, and then you're going to be going back into the Coliseum, this time to face a lion. This is going to be the Blinding Elder Lion. And once again, poise damage, charge attacks, jump attacks, using Retaliate to avoid damage. This one took me around 3 or 4 tries. It took me a second to get used to his moveset again, and to make sure that when I was jumping, I didn't get hit like I did there, because that can really bring you down. That's what ended up bringing me down the first couple tries. Funny enough, I ended up getting the last fight that he has to do in 1 try. First one in 1 try. But yeah, this one took me 4 tries for some reason. I don't know why. I just had a little bit more difficulty with the lion. But getting your regular hits, your jump attacks, charge attacks, you want to posture break him and make sure you time Retaliate well so you can get in the poise damage as well as the reduced damage. Look at that hit there. It's pretty much perfect to use that when you have the opportunity to do so. And of course, you can pretty much knock the boss around and take a significantly less amount of damage. Yeah, so overall, this one could be a little bit more tricky. I really do like the jump attacks with Raider, though. His charge attacks are going to be really slow. You're not going to take reduced damage on your regular charge attacks. There's Retaliate. I wasn't able to get the critical break in, though. Once again, paying attention to that jump across move with the sword that he has on him. That's going to be pretty much the move that gets you most of the time because it's relatively quick, and if you happen to be jumping, you can get hit by it easily. And there's the critical break. The lion's going to go down, and we're going to continue forward with Raider's Remembrance Quest, getting great relics, and eventually, finishing this quest, and I'll have 7 of the 8 of them down, and can't wait for that. Still got Recluse to go, though, of course. Can't wait to do that one. That should give us some good relics as well. All right, so we're back here. We're going to talk to Iron Menial one more time. For some reason, you can't move for like a second or two afterwards. And he's going to tell you that you finished it, basically. Remembrance complete. And as with all of these, you're going to get items and whatnot. We are now going to conclude Remembrance. And I mentioned this earlier. If you do not have the next chapter unlocked, make sure you go and defeat a boss to get a memory fragment so you then have the next chapter unlocked for Raider. And we got his chalice there, which will give you the opportunity to, I think it's like 2 red slots and a universal slot, so pretty cool. All right, we are now on Chapter 7. We have Chapter 6 and 7 unlocked based on getting memory fragments from beating bosses, Night Lord specifically. I think the dog guarantees you one. We're going to begin the Chapter 7 Remembrance here and get on the way with finishing up his quest line, because this is really the last set of big things that you have to do. You're going to have to talk to the Iron Menial here one more time. And as you talk to the Iron Menial here, he's going to mention this time that the stone's not really doing anything. So just check it, and it's going to say no response. But there's really nothing going on here. And what you need to do, this is really the only part where I got a little bit confused, is look at the map and go down to the beach. There's going to be an exclamation point at the beach because there's going to be an event, something specific that happens there that can help you finish the remembrance. So follow me on screen to the beach directly. We are going to go through the round table hold here, and then it's going to be to the right and straight out. And we're going to use the map frequently. I like using the map frequently to know where I'm going, exactly the exclamation point. Kind of need to be in the vicinity of where the exclamation point is for what is going to occur to have it to occur. But anyways, once you're near it, it's going to pull you into another Coliseum fight. This is going to be the most challenging one of the 3. Despite my difficulty with the dog and getting this on the first try, probably wasn't my best clip in the world, I would still say this is the most difficult one because it's a little bit surprising. And why is it surprising? Well, it's surprising because the fight actually starts out relatively easy. You're going to be facing against a version of yourself. This is going to be harder than the first boss, though, because he has Retaliate, and you got to make sure you stand away from him just in case he decides to use Retaliate, because it's going to do massive damage and poise damage to you. So try to avoid that the best you can. I like jump attacks, as I mentioned earlier. You're not going to get a posture break here because of the fact this is more like a regular NPC type enemy. You're basically facing yourself. You really need to pay attention, though, to Retaliate. I don't mind getting hit with the regular attacks that he has as much, but I do not want to get hit with Retaliate, as it does a lot of damage, poise damage, knockback, etc. And we're going to continue hitting him. Frost build-up's nice on my build. I had Frost on his main weapon. That helped a lot with this to give you some chunk damage, percentage damage, and of course get an increased amount of damage on the boss afterwards because they get the debuff, and I think they take something like 10 or 20% more damage after the Frost procs. We're not using Frost and Fire, so we're not resetting anything, or we're just getting the debuff, so that's not bad at all. It's a good setup to have like a status effect when you go into this, because you'll be able to use that at least for the first phase, and depending on what you use for the second phase. Now here's the second phase when it gets wild, which you're basically facing an ulcerated tree spirit, a spirit version of it or whatever, and it's absolutely insane, of course, because these are always insane to fight. Try to save your ultimate for phase 2, because you're going to want to use that on him for the poise damage and for the buff around it. You get additional damage and whatnot. I think it has a general like aura buff around it as well. I don't play as Raider that much. Overall, though, you want to keep the pressure up. If you stay behind him, you got a little bit better of a chance. He does have a tail swipe, though. Once again, I don't know if I end up proccing or not. I'm using Frost again and Chilling Mist. And he's not too bad. I end up not being able to get the critical break here. I did hit it, but it just didn't land for some reason. Overall, though, same thing. Building up poise damage, using Retaliate when you can, especially if you're about to be hit. You can use it to take reduced damage, and making sure you get in your charge attacks and your jump attacks for poise damage. At the end, he spams everything because every boss in pretty much like Nightreign, Elden Ring, whatever, ever since like Elden Beast, I feel like they all just like to spam everything they have at the last minute at you. So that's of course going to happen. That's why I get trapped in a corner here. But again, this took one try, so it wasn't too bad at all. This wasn't too tough of a fight overall. And I believe we're going to get another poise break here shortly. And that's going to end up being the end of him. As long as you're getting those posture breaks, if you get like 2, you can add up a lot of punishment on him. And he only has half of a full health bar. You got to think that he's got half of his HP. So it's not bad at all. He's going to be 1 more hit in total here. We're going to take down the ulcerated tree spirit. And down he goes, rival felled. That's going to be the last one for the Coliseum, and the only disappointing part about this is that I don't get to jump into the Coliseum and fight anything else. I actually really enjoyed Raiders. It was a lot of fun. It was just jumping in and doing some gladiator type shit. It was really, really enjoyable for sure. All right, so we're going to be finishing up the Remembrance here. Let's talk to Iron Menial. So we're going to exhaust his dialogue. We're going to be soon getting his Remembrance, of course, his Remembrance outfit as well, and then basically everything in terms of having all the relics and everything, the best relics for Raider. You really get great relics from all the Remembrances, so make sure you check out what you end up getting because odds are it's going to be better than what you're currently running, and there's going to be a little bit of a scene here right now.
I suppose this puts an end to our contest. Giving these back, partner. Roam free.
And that pretty much ends Raider's Remembrance. And yeah, pretty cool stuff there. You end up getting his Remembrance outfit, which is pretty cool for sure. Definitely really cool gladiator type stuff in his. I really enjoyed doing his Remembrance. I hope I was able to guide you through the bosses. I don't play as Raider that much, but yeah, ultimately I think I did well enough there. I only really struggled with the lion. The rest of the other 2 were 1 try, so it wasn't too bad at all. We're going to conclude Remembrance after talking to the Iron Menial, and then I'm going to talk about a few things at the end here, and then a few ending notes. And Raider's Journal will be updated with a recovered memory fragment, I think automatically at this point. I don't think you have to face any more bosses. I think it's just from the Gladiator one that you did. And then you're going to be finishing up. You'll have Chapter 8 unlocked. That's going to be the end of his Remembrance. You've now gotten all his items and his Remembrance outfit, everything that you can get. Keep in mind the relics are really good, so definitely try them out for sure. We only have Recluse to go so far. The playlist is almost complete. Be sure to sub, and I'll catch you in the next video.